welcome to my YouTube channel. Tonight we're in a place that's a wee bit different. This is what they call the Lurg burn, and this is coming off the Creek Hills. So tonight there's a series of waterfalls, as you'll see behind me, and what I'll do is I'm going to take photographs of the falls from this location, and then what we'll do is we'll take a wander up over the hills just to see how far we can go and to find out what's up there. I haven't been up there before. We've had a lot of rain, so it's really swollen, and it might make for some good images tonight. So please join me on my journey and let's see where it takes us tonight. So I've come underneath the bridge and I'm staring at the waterfalls. There's a lot of deep pockets of water on my left hand side. It's going to be really difficult to position that camera beside me. So what I'll do is I'll test the depth of the water as I start to move forward and see if there's any way I can get across to the other side, because it's a little bit shallower. Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll take some photographs of the waterfall, and as normal I'll progressively show the photographs through the stages as I go forward. But because I'm taking shots of the waterfall tonight, hopefully there's not too much water noise coming through. Because I'm under a bridge and it's quite dark, I've got ISO 200, a 25th of a second, because I still want some smoothness in the water, but I've got my aperture at f7.1. So what I might do is just increase the ISO a bit to ISO 250. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to zoom in to the falls, and I'll just take different compositions as I go, because some really nice elevations through the waterfall, because it's split through different levels. So if I turn it round, so again, because I've got my polarizer on, I'm just adjusting my polarizer so I've got the light in the right place. I'll take my shot. So I'm trying to get the composition right because the light is quite dark here in this ravine. So I'm playing about with the ISO whilst I'm trying to get as long a shutter speed as I possibly can without making the water too milky, because you want to see some streaks in the water and you want to get some kind of texture. So there's a small waterfall over on the left hand side, so I'll just zoom in, and because I've changed my focal distance, I then have to refocus and then take my shot. So I've got my camera on a 2-second shutter speed. I'm just going to adjust the polarizer there. I'll take that shot again. So I'm going to adjust up to f8. I'm going to slow down the shutter speed to a 13th of a second, and I'm going to up the ISO to ISO 250, and that's nice. I'm just going to drop the ISO a bit just to see what that looks like. Yeah, that's nice. I might actually drop that again. I like that. So what I'm going to do, I know I'm here on my own, but I keep looking back to check my bag's okay. So there's a couple of little compositions here. If I do a close-up and zoom in to the rock, and what I'll do is I'll get the rock in the background and focus. I've just turned the camera around so you can see what I'm taking photographs of. So I'm just going to edge myself a little bit further forward. I'm just being conscious of the depth because it's actually quite deep. So what I'm doing is I'm going to do a panoramic shot, and I'm going to panel do a panel where I do a series of shots up on an upward sweep, and then what I'll do is I'll bring those shots together in post-processing. Okay, so I've made myself away over the other side. This might be a small burn or a narrow burn, but there's a lot of deep pockets in the burn. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a photograph. There's a little, what looks like a little pool above this first waterfall here that you can see. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus in on the rock in the background and take a shot just to get the depth. I'm focusing on the rock at the centre of the image. I've got ISO 400 f8 and I'm at a 13th of a second, because what I'm trying to do is there's a pool of water just above the waterfall. That's a bit bright, so if I just reduce the ISO to about 250. Yeah, that's a lot nicer. So there's two waterfalls above this waterfall. Now, I'm probably not going to get that much closer to those waterfalls from this location, only because it's pretty inaccessible and I've got my equipment and I do not want to fall in. So what I'll have to do is I'll look around to see if there are other locations where we can get other shots, but what I'll do just now is I'll focus in on the top waterfall. Actually, what I'll have to do here is I'll have to do a focus stack, because the third waterfall is too far away from this focal point of the rock. So I'll put my hand in front of my camera and then I know that's me starting my focus stack. I'll focus on this big rock that you can see in the foreground, and then I'll focus midway into the image. So there's a little pile of rocks just off the back of that rock, and then the third image I'll focus in on the main waterfall. Take that shot, and then I'll put my hands in front of the lens, and then that's me got my 3 shots. And then I'll know to do a focus stack. So what I might do here before I go is just play about with some of the compositions here to see if we can get different variations of image and photograph. And what I might do as well is I might do some close-ups of that water coming down. there's some nice reflections. So I'm focusing in straight on the top of this small waterfall, because the water that's coming over the rocks and the water that's cascading down in front is really, really pretty, but I'm also trying to catch the reflection of the waterfall behind it and the little pool behind it. So what I'll do is I'll switch over to portrait mode and I'll readjust the polarizer. What I might do is zoom out a little bit and then bring that down, so we've got a whole cascading waterfall right in front of us. I'll pull out the zoom a little bit more just to give myself room. So that's another tip. When you zoom in on something, it's always good just to zoom back a little bit, because that'll give you a wee bit more room to play with in post-processing should you need it. So the challenge I have, because this is all running water, I'm struggling to find a focal point. So I've found that rock and I've taken a shot of the rock. So the other thing I'm noticing is it's getting darker. So I'm actually having to up my ISO quite a bit. So what I'll also do is I'm going to see if I can just turn round a little bit. What I have found though, as I was turning the camera to get a composition in my far left, I can use this rock in front of me as foreground, and it's right in the centre of the image, and I've got the two rocks in the centre with the waterfall sweeping round the edge, but I've got the big waterfalls in the back. So this has definitely got to be a stacking shot, so I've got full detail back to front. So before we wander anywhere else, I'm actually going to take 3 images here, because the flow of the waterfall's coming down on the left hand side, and there's actually a flow that's coming from the top left waterfall, the small one, right down the far left here, and that little waterfall at the top there has got some really nice colours in the water. So if I do a photo stack, there's a good chance that when I blend them together we could get some really nice detail. And then the third image, I'll focus in on the rock at the back and put my hands in front, and there we have that image. This is quite a cool location. If I was only about 8 feet tall, this would be perfect. And there we have the final photo stack. So what I'll do is I'll move back and then we'll wander further up the sides and we'll see if there's any photo opportunities away from this location, but again following the burn. And we'll walk up the other side, because there's a good danger we might not find anything. I'm trying to take as many photos here as I possibly can. So as you'll see, what I'm doing here is I'm just doing a little portrait view. I'm being conscious that I'm trying to keep the edge of that bridge out of focus, and I'm just using this as an angle to sweep through the waterfalls, but I'm using that rock there as a leading line. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to focus in. I can actually feel the water vibrating through the tripod, so this might be quite tricky. Let me see how this works. Yeah, I'm not sure that that'll actually work. I'm going to zoom in and just check. There's detail. Yeah, there is. So if I zoom in on the waterfalls and focus in on the waterfalls, although I think I'll see if I can move this to there. So if I reduce the size of my leg there, That'll need to go some way. And I'll adjust this. It's just that that water was actually vibrating through my tripod, so the danger is if the water vibrates through your tripod, you're not going to get a sharp image. It's going to be quite shaky. So let's try again. I certainly feel it on my legs. For such a small burn, it's actually quite powerful. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit more. I'll have to refocus, and now what I'll do is, that's quite a nice image. So I'm going to do a focus stack, and you'll hopefully see this image when it's completed. Okay, so that's the 4 images, and that's the focus stack. Sometimes it pays to follow the burn in the waterfalls, because I've climbed to the top of the waterfall and there's a cracking wee burn. This is the Lurg burn right enough, but it's a cracking little burn up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set up my camera here, and I'm going to see if I can get some shots of these little falls. So it's quite dark here, so I'm going to have to up the ISO to about 800. I need to level off. I'll focus in to the centre of the image, get my focal point, and then readjust the polarizer, because I don't want any glare in the foreground. And I've got f8 a 15th of a second. I'm just checking that water. I might actually increase my shutter speed and reduce the ISO just to get a wee bit more milkiness effect on the water. Yeah, that's nice image. I'm still at f8 even up here, but what I was going to do is work my way up the waterfalls and just get closer and closer. Again, I'm just keeping an eye on the depth of the water, just in case, because that's quite deep, so that's not too bad there. Right, so because there's some nice little waterfalls straight in front of me. They've got some quite nice formations coming down on the right, coming down in the middle, and also on the left hand side. I'll just adjust the polarizer again, just to make sure I've got the glare out of the places I need the glare to be out of. Because I've changed position, I'm going to refocus into the centre of the image again. Now, that's a nice image. There's a nice composition between these two waterfalls on my left hand side, and there's a rock at the bottom here. So what I'm going to do is focus in. Even I'm struggling to see in this light. It might look quite bright on that camera because I've increased the ISO, but it's, yeah, that's really nice. So what I'll do is I'll change the composition. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in on the rock where the two waterfalls are coming down. Zoom in on the rock, and there we have another image. We'll just check that polarizer again. Yep, that's nice. Now I'm going to zoom in on those falls that you can hopefully see up on my left hand side. There's a couple of fallen twigs and branches, but that's okay. If I don't like it, I can take them out. Now on the right hand side, there's some really small falls coming down. I'm just going to adjust the level of the camera. I'm going to focus in. Actually, this might be quite a nice focus stack, so I'm going to put my hand in front of me. There's some primroses as well over on my left hand side, so I might take a couple of shots of the primroses hanging at the side. Of the rocks there. And the only reason I know the primroses, we were away with friends at the weekend and Mary actually pointed out that they were actually primroses, so luckily I remembered. So that's me focusing in on the centre of the image, and now I'm going to zoom in at the top of those falls at the very back. Some nice ferns dropping at the back of those falls. I put my hand in front, so I'm just looking to see if I can kind of work my way up further forward. There's a little pool in front of me, but I actually don't know how deep it is, so let's try it and see. Whoops, so far so good. Oh, that's right up to the neck in my boot. So what I'll try and do is climb up this little waterfall. Oh, that's slip it. And then, oh, see if I can get, oh, can I put my foot in there? Oh, I can. Further up. Right, so now I'm at the top. Whoa. Well, we can tell the weather's getting warmer, the midges are out. So if I just lower my tripod legs, I'll try and get a close-up shot of these falls. So I'm just zooming in on the rock here. That's quite nice. I might increase the ISO just to brighten it up a bit. Right, so this rock straight in front of me has got a lot of nice algae on it, or moss. So what I'm going to do is just change the composition ever so slightly so that I've got the detail of that rock in the foreground and I've got all the water rushing behind it. That would be quite a nice image. I'll bet you if you couldn't see me on that wee camera, everybody will be wondering if I'm actually going to make it. Whoops. I don't mind me falling in as long as my camera doesn't. Well, I'm just catching my breath for 5 minutes. I've walked halfway up some of the Crieff Hills. I was following the Lurg burn. And I've only ever seen the waterfalls of the Lurg burn, so tonight, I don't think this video will last very long, but tonight you'll have seen, I tried to get as many shots of those waterfalls as I possibly could. It's just a shame you can't get closer because I should probably have wore waders and then I could get in deeper, but then it's really slippy and I've got to watch for my equipment. So I decided I would wander up over the waterfalls, and I'm now into the top of the hills, which is just kind of moorland and heather. I'm sure it'll be pretty in the sun, but where I am it's pretty shaded. So I'm going to have my coffee, I'm going to have one of Ali's cookies, and when I'm finished I'll wander down, and if there's any more images I'll capture them on the way down, and yeah, I'll go and enjoy my coffee now. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Remember, it's free. And if you press the bell notification, that'll update you the next time I post a video. So thank you, and here's to the next video.